Good afternoon. Welcome to the midday news on 3FM 92.7 live from our studios here at Adesawe Kanda, Accra. Coming up this afternoon, Accra High Court rescinds bench warrant for the arrest of Ashanti Regional NPP Chairman Bernard Nchibuesiako alias Buntumi after he appeared in court following his earlier absence. Also, Attorney General of repeatedly violating constitutional provisions by trying suspect in the media through press conferences. Later on, we tell you why the governor of the Bank of Ghana, Dr. Johnson Isiama, is touting measures taken by the bank to sustain the city's stability as the BOG launches the City at 60 celebrations. Details of these and more in the next 30 minutes. Stay with us. Many thanks for joining us. The bulletin begins here. The Accra High Court has rescinded a bench warrant which was issued for the arrest of the NPP Ashanti Regional Chairman Bernard Nchibuesiako for failing to show up during the hearing of his case. Lawyers for Chairman Buntumi and the Apiekubi explained to the judge that he was to blame for the miscommunication to his client on the time for hearing of the case. Chairman Buntumi has pleaded not guilty to charges of assignment of mineral rights without approval and purposely facilitating an unlicensed mining operation. He is on a 15 million cedis bill with 3 sureties. Let's go on the phone and speak to my colleague, Lord Edwasari, who has been joining proceedings in court. Lord, talk to us about proceedings in court today.
Right, Grace. And so today we're expecting the case management conference to occur, but when the prosecution got in, they noticed the absence of Chairman Buntumi and then his lawyer and the Apiekubi. And so they actually asked the court that they had observed that Buntumi and his lawyer were absent, but at that point the presiding judge told them that they should mind their business and then talk about the business of the day. And then they went ahead to explain that on their side they haven't been able to proceed with filing all their disclosures and finishing what they need to do because one of their witnesses who is supposed to have signed his witness statement is out of the jurisdiction, and so they haven't been able to do that. And so the judge told them to make sure they do that before the next agenda date. At that point, then the judge indicated that Chairman Buntumi and his lawyers have absented themselves from the court without notifying the court as to whatever reason it was for which they weren't able to make it to court. And so he issued a bench warrant for his arrest. Now, after adjourning the case, shortly after the case was stood or the case was done and adjourned, Buntumi and his lawyer walked in. And so after a while, when they walked in, the judge was actually in chambers. After a while, she came out, and then lead counsel for Chairman Buntumi and the Apiekubi indicated to the court that he first apologized and indicated that it was his fault, for which reason Chairman Buntumi could not be present in court because he told Buntumi that the case was at 9. But the judge indicated that because at the last time they were in court, he was granted bail and no particular time was given for the case to be heard, she was expecting them to be in court by 9 a.m. because that's the time that normally court sittings begin. And that was the reason why the bench warrant was issued. But after listening to the apology and explanations given by Chairman Buntumi's lawyer, the presiding judge, Audrey Kokuvite, rescinded the bench warrant that she had earlier issued and then added some orders and a warning, in fact, that he should make sure that he is present in court at all times with or without his lawyer because he's the accused person and it's not a lawyer who is the accused person because he's a person of interest here. And so that's what basically happened in court today. And so we are back in court on November 4 for the continuation of this matter. Hopefully this amount will not be late and things will proceed as usual.
And so that means whether your lawyer is available or not, as accused person, you should be in court. What does this mean to the next phase of the hearing?
Well, basically, next time we're in court, the prosecution, after explaining that they couldn't get their witness to filed the witness statement. They are hoping that by the next time we are in court, they should have finished with this, and their prosecution witness should be back in the jurisdiction or found one way or the other to sign this document. When this is done, then the case would proceed from there, because during the case management conference, we'll get to know how the case will proceed, how many witnesses the prosecution will call, and all that. So when we are back in court, we'll get to find out all that. For now, to me, it's free in quotes because there's no bench warrant on his head.
Right. Lord, thank you for those updates. My colleague, Lord Idwasari, bringing us updates on the Wontumi case. Away from Wontumi, let's talk about Ghana's legal tender, which is the cedi, because Governor of the Bank of Ghana, Dr. Johnson Isiama, says the cedi's recent stability is the result of hard choices and robust policies. According to him, the currency has turned a decisive corner, appreciating by 37% as of October, making it the best performing currency in Sub-Saharan Africa. The cedi, the country's legal tender, turned 60 years on Friday, July 19, 2025, since its issuance as a medium of exchange, marking a significant milestone in Ghana's post-independence economic journey. Governor Isiama was speaking at the launch of the celebration of the Ghana cedi at 60.
Under the leadership of His Excellency John Dramani Mahama and Her Excellency the Vice President, and through coordinated, difficult but necessary policy actions, I'm happy to say that Ghana has turned a decisive corner. And indeed, the evidence is compelling. Headline inflation is now at 9.4% as of September 2025, and we expect it to end the year even far lower. The cedi has appreciated by 37% as at October 17. And according to the World Bank, it is the best performing currency in Sub-Saharan Africa for the first 8 months of 2025.
Governor of the Bank of Ghana there. Meanwhile, Finance Minister Dr. Kasia Latte-Forsing has reaffirmed that the Ghanaian cedi remains the only legal tender, cautioning businesses against pricing goods and services in foreign currencies.
We must be eschewing the act that seeks to undermine the value of the currency, particularly the pricing of goods and services in foreign currency, the US dollar. Let me use this opportunity to once again stress that, as Ghanaians, the Ghana cedi remains the only legal tender. The US dollar is not our currency. The cedi is our only currency. Continuous pricing of goods and services in US dollars will only hurt us. Let's stop it, and let us stop it now. The cedi is the only currency we have. Let us protect it. Let us trade with it, and let us defend it with all vim within us. Let us talk about the cedi with pride, not as a burden, but always as a badge of economic independence. As we celebrate 60 years of the cedi, let us rededicate ourselves to the core to help build the Ghana we want.
Finance Minister Dr. Kasia Latte-Forsing there. Well, as Ghana celebrates the cedi at 60, my colleague Evelyn Tengma takes a look back at the journey of Ghana's currency over the decades. There's more in this report.
Before Ghana gained independence in 1957, Nigeria, Sierra Leone, Gold Coast, now Ghana, and the Gambia used a common currency called the West African currency.
The West African currency was nothing than the British pounds, shillings, and pence. That's all. But the then currency was equally strong like the English pounds and shillings at that time.
What started at 2.4 cedis to 1 British pound has evolved into a currency many Ghanaians now watch daily with conscious eyes.
I came to Accra 74. We were better off when they introduced these cities. It's not helping at all. When I was employed, my first salary was 80 cedis. But then that 80 cedis, we use it for men's. We don't have a problem. But now you're paying 10 million, it doesn't help.
There is still mixed reaction about its redenomination in 2007.
Time, if you buy something, the money do fine for us. Kufuor time, money, we do fine. Akufo-Addo finish. The money, he come, he change the money, 1 million, 2 million.
Possibly, if you were to go and purchase something that is worth, let's say, 10,000, you carry a big bag of money to go and buy those things. But now with the higher denominations, you can carry something small but of higher value.
The bigger notes, they are good in terms of when you are traveling or you are doing business. You can take this smaller notes. Armed robbers will even attack you on the road.
A report by my colleague Evelyn Tengma there. This is still the midday news on 3FM 92.7. We're live on all our various social media platforms. You can join us live as we even bring you the stream. Let's go to Parliament now, because the minority there says the Attorney General is repeatedly violating constitutional provisions through his rampant trial of suspects in the public through press conferences and at the government accountability series. According to the legal counsel of the minority, an MP for Swami, John Darko, the Attorney General is tainting judges because they go to court with prejudiced minds due to a label of suspects as guilty. John Darko says Dr. Dominic Ayene is engaging in populism and biased press trials. We're working the phone to speak to my colleague Christian Yale, who is at the presser. But let's listen to what the minority has been saying.
Has violated a very core constitutional provision in our criminal article 19(2)(c). This particular provision is about fair trial, has prejudiced this all-important constitutional provision. Under the guise of a so-called accountability series, violated the privacy rights of persons involved. Since assuming office as the Attorney General, the Honorable Dr. Dominic Ayene.
John Darko is legal counsel to the minority and MP for Swami. They are accusing the Attorney General for prejudicing some cases because of his utterances at the accountability series and other editions. Let's go up north, because lifeless body of a 41-year-old canoe operator identified as Razak, who drowned in White Volta River at Daboya, has been retrieved after 2 days of search. On Monday, October 27, Razak, who was operating a canoe and crossing with passengers, fell into the river, leaving the passengers on board the canoe in the middle of the river. Even though the passengers managed to paddle themselves to safety, the canoe operator was not found. A search party was immediately deployed by the Canoe Operators Association. Let's get more on this from my colleague Christopher Makon, because the story comes barely a week after he reported on the dangers of traveling on the Volta Lake without life jackets. Christopher, if you can hear me, bring us up to speed on the latest on this development.
Yes, so Grace, I can confirm to you that the lifeless body has just been moved to the family house of the deceased. Preparations are underway for his burial. Now, this happened barely a week after we reported on the safety concerns of people who travel from Daboya to Tamale and vice versa to transact their daily activities. They do so without life jackets. In fact, at the time of visit, the life jackets that were at the riverbank were not up to 10. And so it is only people who are perceived to be VIPs who were given these life jackets to use when they were crossing. And the other hundreds, if not thousands of people who cross on daily basis to and fro do so without life jackets, putting some level of threat on their life. And so, unfortunately, yesterday, the canoe operator who was transporting some of the passengers across one end to the other fell into the river. And you know that at this time the river has overflown its boundaries, and the pressure is also very severe. And so he could not save himself, even though the people around there told us that he could swim. But unfortunately, this morning his lifeless body was found.
Christopher, has there been any attempt to supply life jackets to these passengers? Because this remains one of the most common means of transportation in these areas.
In fact, it is a major source of means of transportation for the people within that area, because the other alternative route, the road is very terrible, and it's also far, so people resort to using the short means. And so the district chief executive actually last week when we spoke with him indicated that plans are far advanced for them to procure some life jackets to be distributed to them, but that is yet to see the light of day. Now, one other thing has to do with the fact that he's also raised some concerns that even when they bring them, the passengers do not want to put them on when they are crossing, and so
why don't they want to put it on?
Yes, because they say that they have been using that river over and over again, and they have not. They are safe, and so they don't also feel comfortable putting on the life jackets. And so, Grace, this has to do with enforcement. So the district chief executive has actually indicated that when they get some, they're going to ensure that they enforce the use of the life jackets. We know that somewhere April 2024, Ecozoel donated about 200 life jackets to the Naboya community. Yes, unfortunately, after the time we visited last week, less than 10 of these life jackets were available.
All right, Christopher, thank you for bringing us that update. Christopher Marco, my colleague, with the update on that incident on the White Volta. Let's go to the Ashanti region, because the legal battle over who is the only surviving spouse of the late iconic singer Daddy Lumba returned to the Kumasi High Court today. My colleague Ibrahim Abubakar monitored proceedings and joins us with the latest. Ibrahim, talk to us. What happened in court today? Has the case been brought to finality? The last time the judge told them to go and do out-of-court settlement. What's the latest on it?
Well, great. As I speak to you, just some few minutes ago, the case was called. So as I speak, both parties and their representatives have entered in the courtroom. So we are yet to know what they have decided on. Like you rightly mentioned, and the last time we came to court, the High Court judge, Dorinda Smith, asked the parties to go and make sure they settle it out of court. But it appears the litigation will go on, even though we are yet to hear what the final issue will be like. But this morning, I could see that both legal representatives of both parties came with sums of documents, large heaps of documents to prove their case. We were even told that even before today, the Menchia Palace had even intervened, called the two parties, just so they will be able to resolve this issue and ensure that it doesn't even interrupt the funeral date, which is 6th December. So we are yet to hear what the outcome will be today.
But what is the mood like in court?
Well, I can tell you that the case has generated a lot of interest. Supporters and sympathizers of both parties are in court, a lot of them, a lot of bloggers, and the whole court premises is full by these people. People are anxiously, keenly waiting for what the outcome will be. Everybody is hoping that his or her preferred person will be the ultimate winner. But we have others who are wishing that at least we should allow both women to perform the widowhood right, and that will bring finality to the matter.
All right, Ibrahim, thank you for the update. Ibrahim Abubakar bringing us updates on the Daddy Lumba court case. The two wives, who is their rightful widow, the court will decide, hopefully by close of day. The Executive Secretary of the National Commission on Small Arms and Light Weapons, Dr. Adam Bona, says the nationwide gun amnesty will begin on November 11 and end on December 31. The government of Ghana, through the Ministry of Interior and the Small Arms Commission, announced the initiative to curb the rising spread of illicit firearms and growing sun-related violence across the country. Under the amnesty, Anyone in possession of an unregistered or illegal weapon can surrender it to the security agencies without arrest, interrogation, or prosecution. Speaking on TV3's New Day, Dr. Bona warned that individuals found with unlicensed weapons after the amnesty period will face imprisonment.
We should all be ready. The amnesty is coming from the 11th. Minister will do a declaration. Honorable Minister will do a declaration. The modalities will be set out. Please, if you know someone who has a weapon somewhere, you can begin to call us. Begin to call us to give us information. Your information would not be shared with anybody. Share the information with us. Once you give us information, believe you me, we would go in at the right time to pick it, or we can go in now to pick the weapons. And so just let us know. And we don't need guns in this country. Ghana doesn't need guns. We don't need guns. Guns have destroyed countries. And so as a country, what we are doing as part of the security agencies, the Small Arms Commission, what we are doing is to help to ensure that the idea of I must own a gun, is taken away from our mentality.
Executive Secretary of the National Commission on Small Arms and Light Weapons, Dr. Adam Bona. Meanwhile, security consultant Richard Kumado has suggested that the grace period be extended, especially to allow more people in Boko surrender their weapons.
Is to have guns registered so that we know that these are the number of guns registered by this number of people and for these purposes within the communities. Then the last one, so that we'll be able to trace which gun has been used where and for what purpose. And so this is what the amnesty is out there to cure. If the modalities are performing in such a manner that we can achieve these three objectives, I think that would be good to go. One of the reasons why people do not also register their guns or renew is that the renewal process and the registration process is a little bit worrisome. And that takes people away. But then you also have one category of people whose legitimate business is to import arms into this country. I think that as part of the amnesty, they will need some level of enhanced due diligence regards to the job they do.
Security consultant Richard Kumado there. Still with security, a retired Ghana Air Force officer, Wing Commander Patrick Nelson Sogbajo, has appealed to Ghanaians to be patient as the nation awaits the reports on the August 6 helicopter crash that claimed 8 lives, including 2 ministers. He says aircraft crash investigations are complex and take more time than road accident. Wing Commander Sogbajo was reacting to a call by the first Deputy Minority Whip, Alhaji Habib Idrisu, for President John Mahama to release the findings of the committee that investigated the crash. In a letter to the President, Wing Commander Sogbajo spoke with my colleague Alfredo Kanti.
I would just ask compatriots and the country to be patient. Please don't let's bring in Please don't let's bring in timelines. It is virtually impossible for anyone to impose timelines on aircraft crash investigations. Let the search and rescue or the board of inquiry come out with findings. You set up a board of inquiry, and there are a lot of things that they have to investigate. Well, I'm trying to analyze it. There is an aircraft crash investigation. There are a lot of things that they have to look at before they deduce what happened. And if they haven't come to the conclusion, they cannot just come out and say we have done A, B, or C.
So for you, a deadline, this 30-day period shouldn't have even come up at all in this statement that was issued.
No, it shouldn't. The defense minister is not a technocrat on aircraft investigation. He just announced that it was established. But the experts will go in and find out exactly what happened. Give you an example where the United States, with all their scientific means, recently a helicopter ran into a jet airliner and killed 78 people. It took only about 3 months for the board of inquiry to finish their work and then send it to the operator. Because the information which they come out is not public notice, it's classified information. Board of inquiries are made to learn from what happened. Then the government or defense will decide what to tell the public. It is not public notice.
You heard a retired Ghana Air Force officer, Wing Commander Patrick Nelson Stagbajo. You're still on the media news on 3FM 92.7 with me, Grace Hammoah Agyemang. The Inspector General of Police's Special Operations Team has embarked on a combat walk and show of force in Bole and surrounding communities to enforce peace and stability. The operation, which forms part of ongoing security measures in the conflict-prone area, aimed to enhance security visibility, assure public confidence, and deter potential disturbances.
Prior to the exercise, 85 personnel were assembled at the base and received briefing from the officer in charge, ASP Bawa Abdul Jalil.
Over the period, the curfew hours have been reviewed, and because of the review of the curfew hours, from 12 a.m. to 5 a.m., we have not been able to meet anybody breaking the law. This shows that things are coming back to normalcy.
Team fully equipped with body armor and double magazine weapons, deployed in 8 service vehicles and 10 motorbikes for the exercise. The combat walk began with a tactical march through the main street of Bole, led by vehicles and motorbikes, as officers chanted combat songs to project readiness and morale. The team also patrolled key areas, including the central market, hospitals, schools, and previously identified conflict hotspots. After the walk, officers embarked on an intensive patrol across the township and surrounding villages, covering strategic locations such as the Ghana Commercial Bank, mobile money vendors, and major business centers. The patrols were conducted in high visibility formations to reassure the public of the security agency's presence and preparedness. The situation throughout the operation remained calm and peaceful, with no incidents or arrests recorded. Meanwhile, the curfew imposed on Bole and its environs remained in force, but has been reviewed. Residents adhered to the curfew, and commercial activities showed signs of gradual recovery. The successful operation strengthened public confidence in the ongoing peacekeeping efforts in the Savannah region.
A report by my colleague Stanley Ni Bleu. Let's end the bulletin on the international front because 3 people have already died in Jamaica as it braces for the world's strongest storm this year and possibly the strongest on record for the island, with U.S. meteorologists warning of catastrophic and life-threatening conditions. Wind with speeds of up to 175 mph. Hurricane Melissa is a Category 5 storm. The maximum strength, it is intensifying and expected to make landfall on the Caribbean island early on Tuesday. It has been blamed for 4 deaths in Haiti and the Dominican Republic, in addition to the lives lost in Jamaica. Experts warn that Melissa's slow pace may mean prolonged torrential rain in some areas, increasing the risk of deadly flooding and landslides. That will be all by way of the week. Midday news on 3FM 92.7. My name is Grace Hammoah Agyemang. Stories that came through as headlines. This afternoon, Accra High Court rescinds bench warrant for the arrest of Ashanti Regional NPP Chairman Bernard Enchibuesiakun, alias Buntumi, after he appeared in court following his earlier absence. Also, Attorney General of repeatedly violating constitutional provisions by trying suspect in the media through press conferences, and Governor of the Bank of Ghana, Dr. Johnson Isiama, touts measures taken by the Bank of Ghana to sustain the city stability as a BOG launches a city at 60 celebrations. Many thanks for joining us. You can log on to 3news.com and get some more stories. But business is up next with the business team. They have the latest, especially when it comes to the launch of the city and any other stories that is making waves in the land of business. We are live on 3FM 92.7 on Facebook, 3FM 927 on Instagram, 3FM 927 Facebook, 3FM 927 TikTok, 3FM 927 and all our social media platform. Log on, like and share. Michael Ogbedu just entered the studio to bring us the latest in the world of business.
102.7 Urban Lifestyle Radio Station.
Hello there, good afternoon. Welcome to Business Daily on 3FM 92.7. Coming up, Governor of Bank of Ghana says cedi's resilience not by chance but hard-won stability.
As your central bank, our mandate remains unchanged, and this is to safeguard price stability, preserve financial system resilience, and support long-term inclusive recovery.
Meanwhile, Finance Minister Dr. Kasiel Ato-Forson demands immediate halt to dollar pricing.
Let me use this opportunity to once again stress that as Ghanaians, the Ghana cedi remains the only legal tender. The US dollar is not our currency. The cedi is our only currency.
Plus, Center for Environmental Management and Sustainable Energy say axle load enforcement a crucial cornerstone for public safety and fiscal health. I am Michael Obudu. Details of this and many other stories coming up shortly. Please don't go anywhere. Thank you so much for your time. Straight into our top story, and the Governor of the Bank of Ghana, Dr. Johnson Agyemang, has stated that the recent stability of the Ghana cedi and the improvement in key economic indicators over the past 8 months are the results of deliberate policy choices, not luck. Speaking at the launch of activities to mark the cedi at 60th anniversary, Dr. Agyemang emphasized that tough corrective decisions were essential to restoring the nation's economic health.
These gains are not by accident. They are the result of hard, sometimes unpopular, but principled decisions that we've had to take. Fiscal consolidation by government, a tight monetary policy stance by the Bank of Ghana, and renewed confidence from the investor community and the Ghanaian public. And so today, as we celebrate 60 years of the cedi, we do so not out of nostalgia, but from a place of hard-won stability and cautious optimism. As your central bank, our mandate remains unchanged, and this is to safeguard price stability, preserve financial system resilience, and support long-term inclusive recovery. We are not yet where we want to be, Excellencies, but we are no longer where we were.
Governor of the Bank of Ghana, Dr. Johnson Agyemang speaking. Meanwhile, Minister of Finance, Dr. Kasiel Ato-Forson, has issued a sharp warning to the public and business community, calling for an immediate end to the practice of pricing goods and services in dollars. Speaking at the launch of cedi at 60, the minister emphasized that the reliance on the foreign currency, which is not our currency, is actively detrimental to the local economy and stability of the Ghana cedi.
As managers of the economy, we have remained steadfast in our duty to ensure a strong cedi and a very stable currency. Our commitment to fiscal discipline has contributed to the strengthening of the Ghana cedi. I want to use this opportunity to commit that the government of Ghana remain committed, and we shall stay the course to ensure that the Ghana cedi remains stable and gains, as we have seen, are being maintained. As citizens, we have a role to play. We must maintain the sanctity of the cedi as a legal tender by preserving it with dignity and protecting it jealously. We have to ensure that we are all vanguard by ensuring that the cedi's value is maintained. We must be eschewing the act that seeks to undermine the value of the currency, particularly the pricing of goods and services in foreign currency, the US dollar. Let me use this opportunity to once again stress that as Ghanaians, the Ghana cedi remains the only legal tender. The US dollar is not our currency. The cedi is our only currency.
Minister of Finance Dr. Kassia Atoforsin speaking. Still on City at 60, Vice President Professor Jainano Agyemang has sounded a note of caution regarding the sustainability of the city's recent stability, stating that public trust in the currency will not sustain itself. Speaking at the launch ceremony for the City at 60 anniversary, the Vice President acknowledged the return of confidence in the markets and among investors, but stressed that these gains are precarious and require sustained effort.
Gross international reserves now exceeds $12 billion. Confidence is returning to the markets, to investors, and slowly but surely to our people. But we are also aware that the trust in the city will not sustain itself. Confidence must be maintained with sound decisions, transparent actions, and accountable policies. What I mean, ladies and gentlemen, is that we must now protect what we have rebuilt through action from government, institutions, and citizens.
Vice President Professor Nana Jane Opoku Agyemang speaking. Away from that, the Center for Environmental Management and Sustainable Energy, CEMSE, has strongly commended Government of Ghana under President John Dramani Mahama for its renewed and vigorous commitment to enforcing axle load regulations. CEMSE views the initiative not just as a regulatory measure, but as a crucial cornerstone for public safety, fiscal responsibility, and national development.
For decades, Ghana's critical road network has suffered premature deterioration due to persistent overloading by heavy goods vehicles. Executive Director at CEMSE, Benjamin Nsia, highlighted the staggering economic burden caused by this non-compliance, citing research that shows the relationship between weight and road damage is exponential.
For us to have a physical space where we could use efficient ways of constructing sustainable roads is by committing a lot of resources in enforcing the load regulation. And if the president comes out to say that he's going to enforce it by showing commitment, especially engaging stakeholders to ensure that it is effectively done, it is something that we must commend.
While commending the first step, CEMSE urged government to sustain the momentum.
All stakeholders from the ports, from Ghana Standard Authority, from road regulatory institutions, and from the TTOs, which is commercial transport operators, and also haulage operators, to abide or support the president in realizing these dreams so that our roads will last for us, because such wastage cannot continue.
You had a report from the Center for Environmental Management and Sustainable Energy and CEMSE, its Executive Director, Benjamin Nsia, ending that report. Now, the Food and Beverages Association of Ghana, FABAG, has issued an urgent public appeal to the government, warning that the escalating crisis of smuggling across Ghana's borders is causing the nation to lose billions of cedis in revenue each month. Executive Chairman of FABAG, Reverend John Awuni, drew attention to the alarming levels of illicit trade, which is flooding the market with untaxed and often substandard commodities like rice, cooking oil, sugar, alcoholic beverages, and textiles.
FABAG estimates that Ghana is losing hundreds of millions of cedis every week due to unmonitored smuggling activities at both official and unofficial entry points.
This is a very worrying phenomenon. This is very, very alarming. It's a crisis situation for legitimate businesses in this country. All manner of commodities are coming through the borders of Togo, particularly, be it rice, sugar, cooking oil, and other many products are coming through the country. And the government indeed is losing an average of about 300 million Ghana cedis per month through these activities.
FABAG called on the Ministry of Finance and all relevant authorities to take immediate and decisive action. Specifically, they appealed to the custom divisions of the Ghana Revenue Authority, the Ministry of Trade and Industry, and national security agencies to help.
The phenomenon is becoming so critical that the government needs to rise up and then work on this. They need to look at ways about which these borders can be blocked. They need to look at ways by which they can ensure that these evil criminals, these criminals who are being emboldened by the day are nabbed and their businesses are stopped so as to save employment and save the massive revenue that the government is losing by the day through these illegal activities.
The association stressed that the issue is not just economic, but a matter of national security and survival that jeopardizes